You are listening to the Real Estate Growth Hackers Show.
All right, welcome to the Real Estate Growth Hackers Show. On today's episode, I got Jack from HomeBinder with me today. We're going to be talking about how to stay top of mind with your past customers by providing true value on Autopilot. So really cool stuff, some really cool tactics and strategies that Jack has learned that we've collaborated on in order to really give you guys some good actionable information to take advantage of today. So before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and have Jack give you a little bit of an introduction about who he is, where HomeBinder came from, what the story is, and we'll take it from there. So Jack, go ahead and say hi and let us know a bit of the quick story of who HomeBinder is, who you are, all that stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Really appreciate the time here today and opportunity to speak to your audience. I am a 46-year-old dad of two boys, 9 and 11. I live outside of Boston, Massachusetts. I've been working in commercial residential real estate since 1999. My vision here with HomeBinder is really about centralizing home information. And so we have been working with all sections of the real estate ecosystem for almost 6.5, 7 years now. So real estate agents, home inspectors, mortgage lenders, home service providers, and much more. So it's a fun place to play. As you know, the residential real estate ecosystem is almost unparalleled. I don't know of maybe next to healthcare. I guess healthcare would be a comparable one in terms of size and scope, but it's a fun one, and grateful to be on this journey.
Awesome. And yeah, so just so that people have a little bit of context about HomeBinder. So HomeBinder, it gives you like a centralized place to keep all of the information about the house, right? I love the name because I feel like the name itself just lends to exactly the idea of what it is. It's a digital version of that big clunky binder of information that you pass off to somebody when you're selling a house. That's sort of it's like the house manual, right? It's everything that's in there. You want to walk through just a couple of those ideas of like what's included?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a few components to the idea of HomeBinder that are important. I think you landed on the first and maybe most important one first and foremost. That since the late 70s, 80s, 90s, even in 2000s, the idea of you're a mortgage lender, you're a real estate agent, you're giving your clients a branded 3-ring binder to organize their closing docs and organize everything about their house down to paint colors by room. That's definitely where we drew some of the name from. Of course, the idea's always been good, but the mode of delivery needs to be different today. Everybody wants digital first. And so by being digital, we can also do interesting things to talk a little bit about, but we can email maintenance reminders. We can tell you if an appliance is being recalled. We can help you track various aspects of your home that a static 3-ring binder couldn't do. The second aspect of it that I think is equally important is that yes, it's a place to organize and manage your home, like an operating system for the home, if you will. But in addition, the idea of the Carfax for the home. And this one is, I think, part and parcel of the idea that I have my HomeBinder account. I'm organizing everything in my home. When I go to sell, I can produce reporting documentation very quickly to give to anybody involved in the transaction, a purchase agent, an appraiser, a buyer. Hey, this is what I did. This is when I did it, both to help you in the transaction and someday as you're owning this home, you know who did what, when did they do it, how do I do it? I use even little things like, I use this example all the time, like just water softener. First time I had a water softening, I didn't even know, do I use the yellow bags or the green bags? I see 2 bags on the shelf. Turns out I need to use the iron out bag, so I'm a green bagger. But now the next owner would know that too. But that's just one little example beyond the myriad of other things. Every home is so unique.
Right. And so what's really cool about what you do and why we're doing this episode today is that you are uniquely positioned in terms of companies, software, services that serve the real estate industry, where most of what you do happens to some degree. Most of the value that you bring happens after the transaction, right? And then helps to lead up to the next transaction, right? So
100%.
You're in this. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's really, one of the things that we have found over, the number of years working on HomeBinder is that what you said is absolutely true. There's lots of tech, there's a lot of technology in and around the process of closing a loan, closing a real estate transaction,
Right.
all the activity. But then there's this like post-closing cliff. It's like all of this stuff stops working because it's not intended for anything beyond getting to the point of closing. And then it's this great sort of vast of this sort that the homeowner goes into digitally, in the sense that there's just nothing there. There's no continuity. And so it doesn't matter who we talk to.
Right.
Could be a mortgage lender, could be a real estate agent, could be an insurance agent. Everybody's saying, like, how could we support this homeowner beyond the quote unquote transaction? How are we making clients for life? How are we supporting the journey of homeownership? And that language isn't unique to real estate agents. It's really everybody that's supporting this homeowner from an insuring standpoint, a mortgage standpoint, an ownership standpoint, and agents who care about that idea of life cycle. We buy, we own, we sell. I often say this, like, we are not so much owners of homes as we are stewards of homes. I was not the first. I won't be the last. We're just in this ongoing cycle of real estate transferring owners to owners. And then you have all of this cast of characters around that owner helping support, make that happen. But it's not just these entities to buy and sell. There's years and years of the owning that are often ignored. And that's where HomeBinder, sits quite comfortably.
Right. And what I love about what you guys do, I mean, you are largely focused, from your passion behind, the concepts, everything that you just shared. You're largely focused on just really providing an awesome experience for the homeowner, for the people involved. And yet it fits really well into an area that I think most agents actually, completely forget about, right? So there's some really sad statistics in the real estate space. This one isn't sad, but NAR found that I forget what it is. It's like 80 to 90%. I forget the exact number. So, I'm off a little bit. But it's somewhere around 80 to 90% of people say after their transaction that they would use their real estate agent again, right? Which that's good, right? That says that most agents are doing a good job with their transaction. They're helping people. People like working with them. But the sad part is that only 10% of people actually end up reusing a real estate agent, right? It's only 10% of people use the same agent that they did on their last transaction on the next transaction. And the reason for that is because agents are largely just focused on getting the next deal. And in a way, they often feel like they have to be, right? So most of their marketing dollars, most of their effort, most of their time is going toward finding a new deal rather than nurturing and taking care of the people that they've already worked with in the past and, creating those future opportunities from those past clients. And so by your company being so directly positioned in that time frame between transactions and in the life that's lived once they're actually in the home, you guys are very uniquely positioned to speak intelligently about the ways that we can, that we can provide a good experience, that we could be marketing to those people, that we could be creating opportunities in that in-between time. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is we're going to be talking about what are some of those angles? What ways have you guys figured out at HomeBinder that are a great way to sort of stay top of mind, to really provide value there, and thus, as the agent, create great opportunities for things like referrals, for things like repeat business, for all of those good things that happen. And it's a little bit of a cliche. It almost goes in one ear and out the other for I think most people. But do you happen to remember? I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here because I can't remember the exact statistic. But do you remember what the cost difference is between acquiring a new customer versus keeping an old customer? I think it's supposed to be 10 times as expensive to acquire a new customer, if I recall. That on the average. Does that sound right to you?
On the average, it certainly is, and that's why the 80-20 rule needs to apply for so many people that you can really, it's a repeat and referral and reference business that real estate agents are in. But what you said is 100% true. There's a lot of pressure just to get the deal done now. How do I make my paycheck this month, this quarter? And what we're talking about in the cycle of real estate, when homes are only transacting initially every 7 years, now it's stretching to almost every 10 years. Is that frequency is drawn out even more. So it feels like, well, why? I can't focus on that. I just got to focus on how I survive today. But you have to find some way to deliver some piece of technology in your business that is rowing for you. A little bit of a set it and forget it item. To quote the great Ron Popeil, kitchen ovens, but a way for
Nice.
you to, get something into your world, in the orbit of your customers, that is doing the work for you, where you can focus here and now, but something is working concurrently to make sure that more of those ties stay to your previous clients. There's lots of statistics, like maybe 10% of homeowners can remember the name of their agent after 18 months, according to NAR.
Right.
What you mentioned is true about how many come back, even though they said they would. There's a lot of room for improvement. The only solace I can say is that real estate agents are not alone. There's a lot of other people in the transaction that are suffering from similar types of statistics. Not surprising. A lot of us have to focus on the here and now about making money today. We can talk a little bit about how we've found some things that we think can keep those agents in front of those homeowners during that duration of ownership, so the probability of them coming back is much higher.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. That's kind of the context, everyone, for what we're talking about today. We're looking through this conversation, through these tactics that we're about to give you, to sort of solve that idea of how do we make sure that we're taking care of our past customers, that we're not having to continue and go and hunt for every ounce of business that we get each and every day, but that the work that we put in today actually starts paying off even in the future as well. We're planting seeds that we can harvest in the future, rather than just kind of constantly hunting and gathering, if that makes sense. So that's what we're going to do. So let's dive into that. So the first idea, when you and I did our preliminary call on this to sort of wrap up what we wanted to bring to people today, is something that you guys are doing really cool with HomeBinder these days, which is providing the homeowner with a really solid home value. So, just to speak to the power of this, home values are an awesome way to get in front of anybody who's a homeowner, because it's the one thing that they're kind of continually caring about, right? They want to know what their investment is worth. They want to know, if it's going up, if it's going down. There's pretty much no amount of that information that they won't be at least some level interested in. So it's a really great way, if you could provide that solidly, then it's a great way to have an excuse to reach out. But, one of the things that I know that you guys have seen is that, often most of the AVM, that's the word for it, right? Automated valuation model. Is that right?
Correct.
Most of the AVMs do kind of a poor job with it because they don't have all the information available. You want to speak to that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk kind of those 2 points. Like, one is this idea that homeowners care about home value. I mean, Zestimate, I think, set sort of a new bar in terms of transparency around this. There's lots of companies out there that provide different AVMs, as you said, automated valuation models, get displayed in different ways for folks in the mortgage industry, in the insurance industry, in the warranty industry, in the marketing industry. Lots of them, home value says something about the demographic of a person. So a lot of people care about it as well as the quality of the investment. So find, as a real estate agent, some way to make home value part of the way you're communicating to your previous clients. And all these things we're going to talk about are part of HomeBinder, but there's also individual solutions that are out there that, if that's really what you want to focus on, you can go find solutions that really do that one thing. The thing that you said second is this idea of, well, yes, home value estimates exist. Automated valuation models, but they're only as good as typically the comp data that's coming into them, the comparable data, if you will. And often that comparable data, even if it's relatively high fidelity, high frequency, meaning like, there are 3 or 4 other 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes of similar square footage within a half a mile of this house. It doesn't really tell the story of this home. And the thing that all these AVMs are lacking, even though they may be pulling in distance to the nearest Starbucks and comparable data and quality of schools and crime data, they don't really know what's gone on inside the home. And so what we have done as part of our 2.0 valuation model is take the baseline AVM and we layer into it this detail of what projects have been done, what appliances have been refurbished, and what maintenance has been completed or not completed. And I'll just lean on the projects for a second. two homes, identical, comparable. One home, both built 20 years ago, but one home has gone through a full master bath and kitchen renovation to the tune of about $100,000. The other one has. The AVM in this particular world wouldn't show the difference really between those two homes at all. We're factoring that in a way to help that homeowner not only track it, I feel good about it.
Right.
As soon as I do something, my home value should immediately be impacted upon completion of a project. That's what I would expect. Right. But I may not see that for years or a decade in my home value until the home actually transacts, and then a new home value gets assigned to it. So those are kind of two things, key points. One is this idea that homeowners care about home value. If you can find a tool that has home value to engage with your borrowers, your previous clients, your book of business, that's good. And number two, think about ways in which that the model is a little bit limiting today, and ways in which it could be improved upon so that they truly get engaged with it.
Yeah. Part of what I love about what you just described is it almost gamifies the experience of like
100%.
owning a home and improving a home, right? Where it's like, I'm of the age. I grew up with video games. I played a lot of like RPGs in my day, right? And so I'm used to like leveling a character, right? Like I'm used to that sort of dynamic. So it's cool. It's like it's almost a similar mechanic applied to the house, where you say, hey, I improved this thing. Well, I just leveled it up a little bit. I keep my maintenance in working order. I keep the health of the house good, right? And so I'm keeping that score good, right? And it provides a little bit more of that immediate feedback, which I think actually encourages people to not just feel good about it, possibly do more, possibly really dive into like that positive feedback cycle of keeping a home in good condition, and ultimately hopefully reaping a bigger reward down the line too. So yeah, I like that. I think that's really cool.
Even service providers. I mean, you think about a service provider that comes and puts in a new heating system for you immediately. Really, what you're thinking as a homeowner, oh gosh, I just had to spend $7,500 for a new heating system, as opposed to that $7,500 actually is a pretty high impact, almost dollar for dollar in your house. Probably you're getting $6,000 of that in added home value almost immediately, and getting that, and that doesn't happen today. And it should. You're right. And whether you want to use the term gamification or real-time loop, it's totally on point, and something we're rolling towards.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. So far we know home values. Home values are a great excuse to reach out to our past customers. We want to do that consistently, if on autopilot, if possible. You can even do it manually, but let's be honest, if you're not doing it currently, it's probably going to be hard for you to do it manually in the future. So we want to have that sort of thing going out on autopilot. Another element that you guys are really great at with HomeBinder is just this overarching idea of giving people peace of mind when it comes to their home, right? Where they could feel good about knowing how to take care of their home, knowing good people to reach out to, knowing all sorts of stuff that just gives them peace of mind. And there's a few things that go into that that we could talk about in terms of examples on this end. But do you want to speak to just that idea of peace of mind, and kind of how that as a overarching strategy is a great way to stay top of mind while also helping people?
Well, it's a great segue off of home value, because really, when we think about HomeBinder, our two pillars are effectively value tracking and peace of mind. We think those are the two most important things from a homeowner perspective. I'd unpack peace of mind just a little bit, and I'd say it comes in two flavors. Well, one flavor is I know where everything is and I have access to it. So if someone says, where's my insurance policy? I know exactly where it is. What's the make and model? Where's my warranty on a particular appliance I bought? I know exactly where it is. What paint color did I use in that room in case I run into a problem? Or what shingles are on the roof in case I have an issue and someone asks? I know where it is. Just the peace of mind that my domain is organized in a way that's helpful. And the second thing is that I have done the tasks that are important, are imperative to me of an owner to get done. And this generally revolves around typically maintenance and appliance recalls in our world. But some way in which I have actionable list of things that is continually messaging me in hopefully an effective way, not a nagging way, but reminding me this thing needs to get done, and it's
Right.
time. And if my list says I don't have anything due, I get peace of mind because I feel good. If it's coming up, I know what to do. So there's a little bit of duality there. You're trying not to overwhelm homeowners, but at the same time, it's like I usually save this word. This is what, a $5 word, entropy. The idea that the whole world is just heading towards entropy, meaning disorder all the time. And we are fighting it, whether it's our bodies, whether it's our homes, like we are fighting entropy all the time. And you just can't, and that's the reality you have as a homeowner. I can't totally let my guard down because my home is heading towards disrepair if I don't continuously paint it every X number of years. Think about caulking the windows, make sure that I do particular weeding and tree shrubbing and trimming of shrubs outside, because then it's going to cause moisture damage around all of these things have to keep getting done. And that's the idea behind this. Peace of mind. Is everything organized in my world? And are there things to do that I may be blind to? Do I have a blind spot? Am I being reminded, and am I aware of them?
Yeah, and I mean the key to that, so the peace of mind in terms of just knowing where everything is, that doesn't give us necessarily a massive continual opportunity for top of mind awareness, but it's obviously a massive benefit in terms of creating a good end result that makes your past clients feel good. So we don't get that continual reminder aspect there, but that's where the maintenance sort of reminder comes into play. Is that's where we give the opportunity to continually stay in front of people, continue to be part of not just selling them the house, but helping them to live in the house and maintain the house effectively, so that they keep associating you with that home that they're living in, right? And yeah, I mean, like a quick story or example for me, one of the most simple things is like how often you change out your air filter in the house, right? And like I always, for whatever reason, seem to forget to do that, and you know what happens when you forget to change out an air filter in your AC system? Well, it's in the middle of summer, and because there's no airflow through it, the thing freezes up, stops working, might get damaged, or at the bare minimum, you have to leave the system off for a long period of time so that it could defrost basically, and then start working again, right? And so just the simple act of remembering, like we're talking, these air filters aren't hard to change and they aren't expensive.
No, but
remembering to do it,
it's a triple hit. It's a triple hit.
Right.
Poor air quality, higher energy costs because the systems are working harder, and lower expectancy of the life of the equipment because you are taxing it more than it should. So it's a triple whammy for something, to your point, that is like $20. Similarly, like every 5 years replacing washer hoses. Those $20 dumb hoses behind your washing machine, when those fail, it's $10,000 to $12,000 according to insurance statistics. $20. But these are things that most homeowners in our busy lives, a little bit out of sight, a little bit out of mind, and as a result, can fall through the cracks to the detriment of our pocketbooks and or disruption to our lives.
Right. It's one of those things, it's a pretty consistent rule that, that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? That if we do the stuff on the front end, it tends to save us a lot more time, money, and hassle, than if we wait until we absolutely have to do it. Right. So yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So in terms of what we're looking at for this way of staying top of mind, now this is something, honestly, it's probably a little bit hard for the average real estate agent to keep track of this, to manage this for people. So, in terms of solutions outside of HomeBinder, I'm not sure if there are many that even make this possible in terms of reminding people how to do this kind of stuff, right?
There aren't many standalone solutions. We certainly know people that use their CRM. They use their CRM to remind them on some things that are either on autopilot or seasonal. And obviously some real estate agents will put in a spring reminder and a fall reminder. Like, these are the typical tasks you should do as part of fall cleanup. These are the typical things you can do as part of the spring. And, in areas where there's certain things going on, like I've seen real estate agents, they have blast email out to all their people where they have private wells. and say, listen, if you haven't had your well tested in 5 years, here's a reminder. You don't have to worry too much, because obviously if you're off by a year plus or minus, not a big deal.
Right.
But it's a way to remind homeowners that you, the real estate agent, you care about their ownership, you are in sync, you're in touch with them. And this isn't to, throw real estate agents under the bus that have done this, but sending out the proverbial kind of like, and people say it all the time, I'm overusing the example of cookie and brownie recipes.
Right.
It's not a bad idea, but it's not on point necessarily with your task and your job of home ownership. If you are truly supporting the journey of home ownership, and this will get to our third kind of, I think, big topic that we're going to talk about, you want to support the homeowner in ways that's going to help make their home ownership journey a bit easier than it is today, a bit more informed than it is today, and give them a bit more confidence or peace of mind in their ownership than they have today. Those are the things I think that help make a real estate agent look like a real estate professional.
Right.
Because they know and understand in a way that homeowners may not feel from anybody else they work with.
Right.
And that's the opportunity.
And you're exactly right. Like anything that keeps you top of mind for your list, for your past clients, for your sphere of influence, anything that keeps you top of mind is a worthwhile thing to do. But not all of them are created equal, right? Just like you mentioned, cookies and brownie recipes, they may keep you aware and in that world for people, but those aren't directly associated with, this is a real estate professional who does a big and serious job in helping me, manage and secure my most important asset, right? And so
where they have vested, there's no dollar value. They're not getting something for this. They truly care about me. This is about helping me be successful. Goodwill is built up, and you're not just showing up when you hear I'm going to sell my home and I want to be your friend.
Right. Yeah. It's much more of instead of just being a transaction agent, you're more of a home concierge, right? Where
people ask all the time, like, why are real estate agents getting 4, 5, 6%, on both sides of this transaction? Where are they earning it? In markets where homes are transacting like this, well, you're earning it because you have helped make that home so easy to sell, because you've been helping that homeowner throughout this whole journey. It's less a moment in time. It's more that duration of ownership. That's how I think bring the value. And it doesn't mean that home real estate agents can't bring a ton of value just in and of the transaction. I don't mean to diminish that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that there's another untapped area that is often overlooked.
And not only that, as the competition gets harder and harder, you have to figure out the ways to stand apart, right? And if everybody else is and probably will continue to be exclusively focused on just the transaction and the 30 to 90 days that surround it or whatever, stand apart, be the agent that actually cares about life in the home and what it's like to what it's like in that process and making that a good experience. You will stand apart because it's not common, right?
Not common.
With that being said, you probably want some tools to help make it easy, and HomeBinder helps to make it easy. And but regardless, we 100% recommend that you look for something that helps you to take care of this portion of being a good, helping them be a good steward, making that easy, because it's within your purview as the real estate agent, to understand these things and be able to help them through it. And on that same note, real estate agents, one of the things that that I fully believe is that a real estate agent, really, even the solo agent is never a solo agent, right? There's always a team at play. There's the lender, there's title, and then there's your preferred partners and vendors that come along inside inside the transaction and in home ownership as well. And I think that takes us to the next area where we can be providing consistent value, continue to be part of that home ownership process, and that's by connecting our homeowners to great professionals that could really help them maintain their home, help them have a great experience in their home, and really set it up so that in that process of handing people off to the right people who can help them in the best ways possible, really give them a good experience and be associated with that as well, right? Does that sound kind of how you describe this?
it's a huge headache for homeowners. No tech platform has cracked this yet. Even I think the most recent statistic, despite the advent of a lot of brand name websites that we all know about, where you can go find home service providers, we're still only talking maybe 15%, 10 to 15% at most is being done through those sites. The reason being is that it's very tough to do this at scale, and so just like real estate, home service providers, it's provincial. It's happening in some micro area.
Right.
The challenge, there's always the one, the three things. I want good, I want fast, I want cheap. And the old joke is you pick two. Pick two.
Right.
You can't have all three. You can have good and fast, but it's not going to be cheap. You can have cheap and fast, but it's probably not going to be good. So on and so forth. But the idea here is that is actually secondary to the problem of callbacks. The number one problem when we talk to homeowners is that I reached out to my mountain biking buddies or my church group. I got a bunch of names. I called them back, electricians or plumbers or whatever. Nobody called me back. That's actually the number one problem. And this industry is incredibly busy. So what can you do as a real estate agent? Well, by providing a network of professionals to your clients they know and they can trust. And there's a number of companies around the country that are doing this on various scales. I know Save On Home Services, the company in the greater Phoenix area that's kind of providing a network. I know people that are doing this as part of other. And the idea here is that you have to take some ownership here, though. The real estate agent cannot just set it and forget it on this front. You need to manage these relationships a little bit. You need to know that if you give out your name, the name of this business, and that person calls, they're going to get a call back.
Right.
Even if the answer is, hey, listen, I'm so glad you called. I'm just so busy, but I can't get to you. Otherwise, anything short of that is a damage to the real estate agent's reputation.
Right.
On top of pick the two, and communicate those to your home buyers, your homeowners.
Right.
Okay, this is the guy that's good and fast, but he is not cheap. And if you just need it done tomorrow, there's the good guy here that'll do it kind of, cheap and fast, but you're just gonna have to sacrifice quality a little bit just because he or she works fast. And put these pros in context, because the second part is expectation. What is the expectation? If a pro overcharges the customer, that's not going to be good. If they do bad work, it's not going to be good. If they say they're going to be there on Tuesday and they don't show up for a week, that's not good either.
Right.
And so find some, the third point is find some way to help homeowners out, because I haven't yet to run into a homeowner that says that they have this all figured out.
Right. Yeah.
There's going to be, even if they kind of have it sort of done today, there's going to be a service provider that they're going to need tomorrow that's not the network of 10 people they have today. Maybe tomorrow they end up needing a garage door guy. They were fine for 7 years, but now they need a garage door guy. Is the first thought that homeowner has, I'm going to call my real estate agent, because they know this provincial market. They know who's in this area. They know who I should call. And if I call their person, I know that person's going to get right back to me. Even if they can't do the work, I'll start to get an answer of who could do the work, how much it's going to cost, and what timeline I can expect.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key. So like something that you just mentioned, the reality is like, this kind of curation of talent and great service providers, it's not something that you can do overnight, right? It's not something that you could say, hey, I'm gonna call up this guy. They've got great reviews, and I know it's gonna go great, right? It's the kind of thing that sort of plays out over time, and it's like a garden that you need to keep. You need to pull the weeds, you need to plant the right stuff, and get it up and growing. And so it's really important that people are able to adapt this list of people that they're putting out to their, to their network, and be able to pull people off the list, be able to put new people in, and not have that be a massive headache, right? Because it's going to happen. You're gonna have somebody who, honestly, sometimes life just happens, right? Like they start out great, but then maybe they grow beyond their ability to service effectively, right? That does happen.
100%. And what we also find is that, I give a simple litmus test. Oh, thanks. I just read your list. Is this the same list from 6 months ago? And there's 20 people on it? I can almost guarantee 100% assurance that same list is not the same list. It should not be the same list. If 6 months have gone by, you cannot keep 20 people as still the same. The probability is too high that at least 2 to 3 of those people should not be on that list anymore. And so what you're talking about now is not just handing out a PDF, but how do I sort of give a directory? How do I continuously update it? How do I remove ones that I may have given out in the past to my clients, but I don't think they should call anymore? And every agent can figure out a different way to do it. I mean, we have a way within HomeBinder that, we have built for this sole purpose. Maybe the agent just says, you need somebody, don't go refer to us, just call me. Just call me. I will give you the most up-to-date information, but it takes work. It really does. I mean, but the other side of it is not a ton of work. If you work at this, if you have a BNI group, BNI groups are classic for this. You have a pretty good network right out of the gate that you can lean on, and there's the impetus for all of you to share leads right out of the gate. They want to follow up on those calls because they're trying to show that transparency of how much value is being created within a BNI group. So that's one way to do it. But I think that, this is a point that every real estate agent could, and I think should consider figuring out how they're going to do it for their client base. Because I don't know a homeowner that I have ever met that isn't some way frustrated with the state of home service provider engagement, usage, and ultimately or outcome of the work product.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I think if I were to summarize kind of a way that people could tactically, implement this. So it's like, first and foremost, like, assemble your list, right? Who are the people that you currently recommend that you like? Centralize it somewhere, right? I'd recommend that you put it in a place and in a way that you're readily able to adapt and update over time, because it's going to change over time. And then the next thing that I would do is I would have some way of being able to, just let people know that they should reach out to you when they need that kind of help, because you'd love to give them a great referral, and you're very well connected, who does good work, and you could really give them a great option for their need at the time. Get them trained to expect to come to you for that, right? And then the other thing that I would do that's part of this process, because you need to keep that list cultivated, is you want to set the expectation that you either have them reach back out to you to tell you how it went, or two, and this is going to be the better option because you can't rely on other people to reach back out to you. The other option is to reach out to your past customers after they have gone through that process and ask them how it went. Ask them, hey, did they show up on time? Was it good work? Are you pleased with how that went? Because if it didn't, and that happens consistently, you need to know that so that you can update your list and start looking for somebody new or replacing them, right? So having that part of the process, and here's the key to this, that whole thing, it's all marketing, right? Like, it's all opportunity to keep those relationships alive, to be putting your time and effort into creating referral opportunities, repeat business, all of that. So it's not just doing a service for service sake. It's actually, in and of itself, it is kind of a type of prospecting. It's a type of work that will generate business. It's a little bit indirect, but it will directly impact your bottom line as you make that part of your habits, and make sure that you're taking care of those past customers. Does that make sense?
100%. I mean, you're going to be closer to your homeowner clients by the very nature of just increasing their frequency through this mode of operating.
Exactly.
But concurrently, you will also be the first one to know when someone's thinking about selling, because what do people do when they start thinking about selling? 3 or 4 projects I got to get done. And I'm gonna get those in motion because I don't want to have to deal with them as part of the headache, as part of selling this house. I know it's not going to make the house show great. It's not a lot of cost, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. We're just going to get it done and it'll help with this home sale. And you're front line with that homeowner, knowing that that's about to go down, and you're first there. There's nobody else to go and do it too. So it's truly, closing that whole cycle out at the end, because their home sellers are generally going to reach out to a pro to do at least one thing, if not a little laundry list of things, prior to having a home inspection and putting their house in the market.
Right. Well, and shoot, even if they don't reach out to the pro first, hopefully you've built a relationship long enough that they know to reach out to you to say, absolutely, hey, I'm thinking of selling. What repairs should I make? What projects should I do to make sure that the value is as good as possible and this home is in its best sellable condition, right? But people, like, it really is, it's almost a muscle that people have to work. If they're not used to reaching out to you, if it's been 5 years since the last time they've really heard from you or talked to you, the chances of them just calling you out of the blue are not great, right? But if they've been hearing from you in between, if you've been in communication, if they have an expectation that when I need help with my home, I go to this person, regardless of for what reason or what purpose, then yeah, when they're having thoughts of selling, they're going to pick up the phone and call you. They're going to send you an email. They're going to reach out, right?
I think that's the opportunity for real estate agents. Like you said at the very beginning, to move from real estate agents to more like home concierge, home consultants.
Right.
That's how you truly, deliver a ton of value, and make you and your brand incredibly sticky to the home and the homeowner. Exactly. Yeah. So there you go. I think there's some fantastic ways that agents can take, that real estate professionals in general, right? So like we focus largely on the real estate agent. That's largely who my audience is, but I know we got a lot of people in my audience that are from all sorts of areas in the real estate world. And what's so cool about this is the synergy that comes together of everybody involved, right? So having the real estate agent be able to be front and center on this stuff, so that when they have the real estate questions, when they need that help, they're kind of there as that centralized point of contact on these questions, right? But similarly, when you have questions about your loan, or when you have questions about refinancing or those kinds of things, or when you have questions on the service end of the spectrum of just maintaining the home and all of that, you have at your fingertips the people who are continually front and center when you put into practice this kind of marketing, this back-end marketing of reminding people, giving them their home values, making sure that they know what their home is worth, giving them that peace of mind through having that one-stop place to have everything that they need to know about their home, but also be up to date on the maintenance that needs to happen, and then also be able to connect them to the people that can help them do that maintenance, right, and can help them do that process, right? So yeah, when you get that all put together, you have a fantastic system that, if it's done right, literally on autopilot, it's keeping you top of mind, it's creating opportunities for conversations, and it's really locking you in for that next transaction that happens, whether it's with that person or whether it's with referrals that they have. Or shoot, we didn't even really talk about this, but I'll tell you what, you're a lot more likely to get referrals from your service professionals if they're consistently getting business from you, because you're consistently driving business to them, right? So even your professional network, you could start getting more referrals from as well. So there's a lot of power in this process. But now here's the reality: if an agent is not currently doing this, the other ways that we are familiar with, some of them are going to be manual, right? Like some of the things that you could do, you would literally have to remember to take some time to do it. You might be able to set out an automated email, but it's probably not going to perform as well because it's not really customized. It's not personalized to that person, right? So that's going to be a little bit difficult. The other thing is that pulling all of these key ideas in under one roof, so that you can manage it from one spot, have that be easy to do, that's going to be hard to do outside of something like HomeBinder. I haven't seen anything else that really gives you all of these components in one package that makes it easy to do the whole process. And so I'd highly encourage people, if what we described here sounds like something that you want to implement in your business, that you want to have this kind of marketing working on your behalf, like Jack mentioned, rowing for you so that you're not having to manually do this process and implement it on your own, I highly encourage that you check out HomeBinder. There's a lot of different options available. HomeBinder's setup,
like right now, I think you guys are largely getting people from the lending and title space, and maybe home professionals, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Why don't you go ahead and walk me through? Yeah,
absolutely.
So why don't you go ahead and walk me through kind of the layout of how people can get involved?
Yeah, it's awesome. So you go to realestategrowthhackers.com and /HomeBinder, and I think see some more information here about this.
Right.
I just did a search. We have about 214,000 real estate agents on HomeBinder today.
Nice.
However, real estate agents are not our primary customer. In fact, really they're on the platform because they're working with primarily home inspectors and mortgage lenders, to a degree the insurance market, which is probably going to be the next one we go to. When you think about HomeBinder, what we're doing is we're working with all of these actors around the homeowner, integrating with the software they use to run their business, such that when they finish the transaction, the job, the report, the loan closing, whatever it is, information gets sucked into HomeBinder, centralized for the benefit of the homeowner. That includes all your mortgage docs, your closing docs, your home inspection report.
Right.
And the real estate agents are coming along for those rides on a fairly high frequency now. So we do offer real estate agents the opportunity to be HomeBinder authorized partners. It's a logo they can use as part of their branding. It lets the homeowner know, the home buyer know, home seller know that they're informed as to what HomeBinder is and how it's impactful for their ownership. They can go into the system once they have a profile. They can manage their list of home service providers. They can maintain their profile if they move and transition in their career, and then every binder they've ever been associated with gets updated. But the way they get onto the platform is through real estate home inspectors and mortgage lenders. And so if you're interested in this as a real estate agent, really the thing to do is go ask your home inspectors and your mortgage lenders in your market, are you using HomeBinder today? They come along for the ride as binders get set up, because inside of their system, the real estate agent's information is in there. And that's how, that's the business model we have today. We found it, to be effective. We see real estate agents as really, key advocates. And ultimately, this is sort of like the thing that I always like. I don't mean to call it out as a distraction, because but it's another way to think about HomeBinder. If everything you understand about HomeBinder's call is well aligned for you, then you have to be asking the question, well, what if the home sells? What happens to all that data? Well, we have set HomeBinder up to create HomeBinder seller reports. And I don't necessarily like to use the Carfax for the home, because this isn't a disclosure report. But if I was to buy your home, Zach, I would want to know, who's your plumber? Who's your electrician? What projects did you do? When did you do them? When did you buy that appliance? Is there a warranty on it? All of that detail can go from one owner to the next. So I, as the buyer, I'm not just getting the keys and a good luck. I'm really getting, as you pointed out at the beginning, the operating manual for the home in a way that, people may get today kind of piecemeal. So again, if real estate agents are interested in being part of that, going on the journey, really, go to realestategrowthhackers.com/HomeBinder, check out the page, and then, go and talk to the home inspectors and the mortgage lenders in your market, ask them if they're using the product. And, we're happy to offer, obviously, a lot of collateral on that page and otherwise to make sure everybody's aware of why this is important. Why in 2021, every homeowner needs some type of centralized place that everybody can play in. Everybody. This isn't just a tool for one segment of the market. This is a tool for the homeowner specifically that works across insurance and mortgage, and real estate and inspection and warranty and retail and all of it in one spot. That's the vision. That's what we're working towards. And, delighted to have so many real estate agents out there already kind of know about the product and are helping spread that message to buyers when they know that they're getting it as part of a transaction through their home inspector or mortgage lender.
Absolutely. So yeah, again, guys, if you guys are interested in taking action and getting involved with HomeBinder, making it a part of what you are doing in your marketing, whether you are a real estate agent, a lender, home inspector, really anybody that we mentioned, all sorts of service providers, anybody that's listening to this that might find value, what you could do, no matter who you are, realestategrowthhackers.com/HomeBinder, what you're going to find there is a form that you could fill out. It's going to say, essentially, I'm interested. It's not a commitment to anything yet. It's basically just saying, I'm interested in this. I want to learn more. You're going to tell a little bit about who you are, and then we'll get you connected to the right information for you. So if you're a real estate agent, we're gonna help get you set up so that you can indicate the information. Who's the lender that you're already working with? Maybe they're already leveraging HomeBinder and you just need to know that. If they're not, we could get the information to start taking them down the path of seeing where HomeBinder could fit in on their business on the lending side or the home inspection side, right? And so it gives you the opportunity to sort of start exploring this option. No cost, no commitment to start down this process and just figure out, hey, can I make this a part of my business? But you could go there to start the process. Again, that's realestategrowthhackers.com/HomeBinder in order to see, to just let them know that you're interested. And what's really cool is that we've worked out a discount for the folks that do sign up, that do come through this, that you'll be able. Now, it's going to depend, I think, a little bit on exactly how you come through and how you sign up. I'm not even sure. As a real estate agent, is there a cost for the real estate agent based on the model that you guys have?
There is no fee for the real estate agents, but for the mortgage lenders and home inspectors that come through or that get referenced, we're going to be extending a 10% discount for their entire first year of adding HomeBinder to their business. In the home inspection space, we're integrated with 8 different software and back-end technology platforms. In the lending space, we're integrated with 3. So hopefully we can make it very easy for those folks that are in your audience and or indirectly are hearing about it ultimately through the real estate agent that is listening today and is sharing the message with them.
Absolutely. And so whether you are a solo agent, a brokerage with a lot of agents, a loan officer, or really an entire mortgage company, we want you guys to take the action. If this sounds like potentially a good fit, take action, start down this process, indicate that you're interested, and see about making it part of the suite. I know you guys work both with very top end companies that are rolling this out kind of all across the board, as well as some people who are doing a little bit more piecemeal where you're working directly with those partnerships. So no matter where you guys are at in your business, definitely I encourage you, if this makes sense to you, check out HomeBinder. I hope you got a lot of value out of the tips that we shared today. Leverage that. Make sure that you're using that kind of marketing in your real estate business to stay top of mind with your past customers, your past clients, because honestly, the work that you do there is drastically cheaper. It's drastically more fulfilling most of the time. You're calling people that are happy to hear from you, and all you got to do is just take some time to do it, to make sure that you're keeping those relationships alive, and then they'll pay off for years to come. So Jack, thanks so much for coming on. I really hope that people check out what you're up to. You guys are doing some really cool things at HomeBinder. But any parting words for people as we end the show?
I think you said it really around this idea of what happens post-closing, what happens with regards to supporting clients for life. I love the word that you used, fulfilling. I think ultimately, if you embrace this kind of idea of really not thinking of your clients, your customers, your home buyers as really a transaction, but this idea that we're supporting the journey of home ownership, it can be a fulfilling one. It maybe requires a little bit more work. Maybe it requires a little different work. But I think given that you know a local market so well, it's not just the homeowners, but it's the insurance agents, the mortgage lenders, and the plumbers and electricians in those markets. You can be the catalyst. You, the real estate agent, can really pull this together and be the corollary to our hub of the home, which is software driven. You are the hub of the home from a personality, a personnel standpoint, by pulling the right people together. So I really appreciate the time today, Zach. Always love talking to you, and really appreciate everybody staying with us and listening if you're still on here at the end.
Awesome. Yeah. Glad to have you as well, Jack. Thanks for everybody, listening in, lots of great information on this episode. Please be sure, if you like this information, leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Drop a 5-star review. Let us know that you love this episode with Jack. Mention him by name and let him know. And then otherwise, subscribe, comment, like, all those sorts of things. If you have any feedback, If you have anything that you want to let us know, just definitely take action. We'll have more great episodes coming out for you in the future as well. So stay tuned and make sure you're subscribed wherever you consume this content. And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Growth Hacker Show. Remember, done is better than perfect. To turn the marketing ideas and tactics you just learned into real growth for your real estate business, visit us at realestategrowthhackers.com. If you like this episode, consider sharing it with another real estate professional who could benefit from the information. Or maybe you'd like to subscribe to the show to never miss an episode. You can leave a rating or review on iTunes with your biggest takeaway, helping this show to reach and help more people just like you. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.